It's the start of another month, and that means it's time to update some Hoyas. So join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at 1, 2, and 4-year Hoya updates. And before we get underway, some thanks as usual. First off, to my buddy Daniel for my new cocktail glass. Yes, very much appreciated. And then also to my friend Laura, and to Anusan and Beata. Laura bought me coffees, and Anusan and Beata sent me super thanks. And it goes without saying that your support is very important to my channel. It's very much appreciated. So thank you all again very much. And before we get to the Hoya updates, I've got some bloomers this week, and they aren't all Hoyas, so people who are only here for the Hoya, bear with me, okay? Because they're blooming and I'm pleased about it. The first one of the bloomers is one of my long-suffering Primulina. I don't know if I can get it to hold still. It's a very, very pretty little Primulina, and Primulinas are Asian violets. And this poor plant, I've had this plant for maybe 7 or 8 years, and it has been underwatered, it has been neglected, it always bounces back, it always blooms, and I'll put some close-ups of the blooms because they're just beautiful. And this one got a little bit dry this winter, but gave it some drink, gave it some nice moderate light, and it sparked right back up. So if you're a fan of African violets but haven't had any luck with them, I heartily recommend Primulina. They put up with a lot. I think they're easier than African violets, and those blossoms are really unique. I found mine at Hertz Gardens online. So yeah, Primulina blooming. That's very cool. The other one, this is a brand new plant for me, and it is turning out to be really fun. This is, let me get the name right, Syningia leucotricha. And that's the bloom. The leaves are fuzzy and silvery colored. It's a caudex-based plant, so you can see there's like a potato growing down in there. And it comes out of that. I've got it growing in pond. I water it every few days. Not a lot, just a little bit. But it's very, very neat, very different. The blooms are very cool. Everything's fuzzy. And yeah, I'm happy with this one. It came from Its Secret Succulents on Etsy. Now, the next one is a Hoya. So you can all breathe easily now. And this is my Hoya endauensis. Where do you think you're going? I love the little leaves on endauensis, and the blooms are rather, let's see if I can get that in, rather pretty. And I'll put some close-ups. I didn't really notice a scent. No, nothing noticeable. The blooms are kind of a butterscotch corollas and a dark ruby coronas. They're quite pretty. This plant has done very well for me. It's a good grower. Oh, well, we'll deal with you later. Beautiful little ruffled edge leaves. Just done really well. Yeah, this is, I know I say it about all my Hoyas, but this one is a favorite. Yeah, so this is Hoya endauensis. And the last bloomer this week is my little beast of a Dischidia ovata. And the leaves are just amazing. The blooms are rather cool, rather tiny. Let's see if I can get that to turn, and yeah. Nothing amazing, but again, I'll put some close-ups because when you stop and look at them, they're really rather pretty. Some nice stripes on the side, a dark red center. Yeah, it's tough for me to see around and see if that's in camera. There we go. But it'll keep blooming for the next couple of weeks. It's a really pretty plant, and the little neat blooms just add to the whole thing. So yeah, Hoya ovata. And my first update today, a plant that's been here for 4 years, is my Hoya curtisii. Now, Hoya curtisii is native to Brunei, to Kalimantan in Indonesia, and to Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak in Malaysia, the Philippines, and Thailand. And it was first published in 1908 in the Journal of the Asiatic Society of Bengal, Part 2, Natural History, by George King and James Sykes Gamble. And there's a note on the herbarium sheet that says Penins Mal, so the Malaysian Peninsula. And I think this is just a beautiful, beautiful Hoya. Small, kind of heart-shaped leaves with a lot of splash. It's almost like camouflage. There's so much of it. And I had wanted one of these for a while, and I was driving around in Massachusetts running some errands and drove past a big box store that I had not been in before. So I thought, well, let's just go in and see what they've got in that department. And lo and behold, there were 2 pots of Hoya curtisii. So I looked at the 2 of them, picked the one I thought was the better looking. And I should have a picture of it. I'll put it over here of what it looked like soon after it arrived. And when I picked it up, my first thought was it shouldn't weigh that much. It was just way too heavy. And I stuck my finger in the soil, and it was soaking wet, which is not something Hoya curtisii likes. So I brought it home, pulled the soil away from, what's going on here? Wait, later. We'll talk later. Pulled the soil away from the side of the pot, and I slipped paper towels in there, tried to dry the soil out a bit. And then after maybe a week of doing that, with minimal success, that soil was almost mud. I took it all out, pulled it out of that soil, rinsed it off, and settled it in a mixture of bark and sphagnum. And for a lot of my plants, that didn't do enough for them. But curtisii likes, from my experience, curtisii likes a really, really airy mix. If you're trying to grow curtisii in soil or cocoa coir or anything like that, I don't think it's going to be as happy. So I tend to just water this right on through till the water runs out the bottom, which happens almost immediately. There's nothing in there but bark and sag, and probably a lot of roots at this point. And then set it back. I have it in a covered pot in here, in a net pot. And I would pull this out and show you, but getting it back into the pot it's an all-day adventure. So yes, this has done very well. It seems to like a moderate amount of light. It's right next to one of my grow shelves, so it gets good fallout. I've noticed that this spring, some of the new vines are actually growing away from the light. So curtisii may be one of those plants that grows toward shadow, because shadows are cast by things it can climb, which is every Hoya's goal. So yeah, this is done very, very well. It likes, like I said, it doesn't hate moisture, but it doesn't at all want its roots sitting in heavy, gloppy, suffocating soil. So if you've been struggling with this, try a mix that's chunky, airy. That's the key word, airy. So it gets a drink like once a week, and it sits on the side of the grow light, and it's just been a happy little plant. It has not bloomed for me. I'm not exactly sure what it wants to bloom. It may want a bunch more light. And that may not be possible given the current setup in the Hoya room, but we'll see. I just think these leaves are gorgeous, and I have some, of course, some leaf shots over here. But yeah, this is just a very, very pretty plant. Like I said, I found this in a big box store, so it wasn't terribly expensive. I don't know if that plant company is still sending these out, but keep your eyes open for them. This is a good one. This has been a lot of fun, and it looks very pretty trailing. This is Hoya curtisii. And the next kit up today is my Hoya latifolia outer variegated. Now, latifolia is native to Brunei, to Java, Kalimantan, and Sumatra in Indonesia, to Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak in Malaysia, and to Myanmar and Thailand. And it was first published in 1837 in, deep breath, A General History of the Diclimidious Plants, comprising complete descriptions of the different orders, together with the characters of the genera and species, and an enumeration of the cultivated varieties, the scientific names accentuated, their etymologies explained, and the classes and orders illustrated by engravings, and preceded by introductions to the Linnean and natural systems, and a glossary of the terms used. So pretty much anything you'd want. And it was published by George Don. And there's a note on the herbarium sheet that says Malaya. So this was first discovered by people who didn't live there on the Malay Peninsula, most probably. This plant for me has just done really well of late. And there's a story sort of with this. I had this unattached memory of a green leaf with yellow along the edges. I don't know where I saw this thing. I know it's stuck in my brain because I've had it for many, 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 many years. But when I saw latifolia outer variegated, I knew that was the plant I had remembered. So it could have been a doctor's office, a dentist's office, could have been in the front window of a barber shop back when I used to have need of that. Who knows? But this has done very, very well for me. It's just gorgeous. I mean, I gotta watch out for my lights up here. But it's a beauty. The trellis for this one is 33 inches or 83 centimeters tall. Some of the big new leaves that are coming in are, well, that's 6.5 inches from petiole to tip, which is about 16.5 centimeters. And these leaves are running around 3 inches or 7.5 centimeters wide. They started off much smaller. Let's see if I can do this without tipping it, as you can see down here. But the last couple of months, he must be liking where he is. And it's probably also, the light level is a little bit lower than where he was early on. So I've been getting leaves like that are just beautiful. He's not a racehorse. He's a new leaf. Yay. He's not a racehorse. He's not going to win any growing races, but it's been a steady grower, and he's starting to put out some really, really fine leaves. So, yeah, he's, excuse me, I probably need something to wet my whistle. He's living on my desk in the plant room between a set of grow shelves and one of the windows. And this is the side that's facing, the one with all the huge leaves is the side that's facing the windows. So I think he likes that setup. I remember hearing that these latifolia can take a little bit less light, can tolerate it, may even prefer it. There's much green in each leaf, so it doesn't need a whole lot of high light to produce food. So yeah, this has just been, just, especially lately, a real delight. I love this. I think that's just really pretty. I know it may not be for everyone, but it is for me. This is really, I'm just happy about this one. I'm just happy. I'm glad it's doing so well. The vines will secrete a little nectar. The vines themselves, there'll be some sticky stuff on them. I think this one has bloomed, but I think some of those peduncles are long gone. So with luck, we will see that again, but it's putting out these gorgeous big leaves and looking fine, so I'm happy with it the way it is. This one came from the plant farm, and this is Hoya latifolia, outer variegated. And next up, I've got a Hoya that's been here for 2 years, one that I was sure I would not be able to grow. It was just going to be too fancy for me, and I think I was wrong. And that's my Hoya spartioides. The first time I saw this, I thought, that's just so neat. I mean, it's a plant that doesn't have leaves. These are all peduncles that have evolved to perform photosynthesis within them. So that's how the plant makes its food. And it came as a nice little plant. I should have a picture for over here of what it looked like when it arrived. And I put it under a fairly decent grow light. And it just took off. I mean, it branched. It has branched again since then. Down in here, I don't know how I can tip this, but there's another branch forming down here. There's the two main branches. It looks like there's another branch forming in there. There are buds on the way in. So that's very cool. It's just a really neat plant. More activity. It's just a very neat plant. It's not at all demanding. It's not at all difficult to grow. It does like a decent amount of light, and it will bloom. I should have pictures of this one's bloomed a lot. The thing to remember is that the blooms only last for one night. And I do mean one night. They don't open up until after dark, and they close up in the morning. And they're done. It's not even 24 hours that they're open. It's not overpowering, but the scent is something like that of burning rubber. At least that was my take on it. Well, there's some more buds in there. But you don't have, at least I haven't had the experience of having every peduncle in bloom at the same time. So that's not been an issue. It's just such a funky plant. I've seen them, and they can be exceptionally expensive. And I did not pay a lot of money for mine. I had it on my list, put it on my wish list, and I watched and I waited until one came up at a decent price. So don't spend a fortune buying one of these. But it's very cool. You do need to put it on your wish list, because that's just, I mean, if you have friends who don't understand what's neat about Hoya, show them one of these. This is kind of cool. Yeah, no complaints about this plant. You'll see a little bit of sulfur on it. and I need to give it a good rinsing, but we're fine. He's just growing like a storm. Let's see if I get my handy dandy ruler out here. From root to the end of this longest vine is probably 9.5 to 10 inches, which is 24 to 25.5 centimeters. So it's grown very well for me. It does like a good amount of light. The peduncles will sun stress, the blooms will sun stress, the buds will sun stress. They can get very, very brown. So I lowered the light level a little bit and the blooming slowed down a bit. So there's a happy medium in between what it was getting and what I'm giving it now. And I need to kind of like tweak it a little bit. But it grows really well. It's very happy. It's very cool. And I think it's one of the most fun plants I have in my collection. Now, Hoya spartioides is native to Brunei, to Indonesia, to Kalimantan in Indonesia, and to Sabah and Sarawak in Malaysia, which means the island of Borneo. It was originally published as Astrostemma spartioides in 1880 in Hooker's Icones Plantarum by George Bentham, but was republished as a Hoya in 2001 in Fraterna by Robert Dale Kloppenberg. This is just very cool. The name comes from the Latin spartum, which are broom plants, and if you've seen the broom plant, they grow in long, thin branches as well, and oides, which means resembling. So yeah, this is very cool. Yeah, this is a fun plant. If you think you couldn't handle something or grow successfully something that's as weird as this, you can, and it's not difficult at all. I've had a lot of fun with this one. This one came from Mystery Garden Shop on Etsy, and this is Hoya spartioides. We've got a bunch of plants that have been here for just a year. And the first one is Hoya finlaysonii EPC 317. And it's a very pretty, narrow-leafed finlaysonii. Now, Hoya finlaysonii itself is native to Brunei, to Kalimantan and Sumatra in Indonesia, and to Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak in Malaysia, to Singapore, and to Thailand. And finlaysonii was first published in 1834 in Contributions to the Botany of India by Robert Wright. And EPC in the accession number is from Epiphytica Garden in Ratchaburi, Thailand. So this may be native to that area, to Ratchaburi, which is on the western side of Thailand, or it may simply have kind of evolved there or developed there. This one's doing okay. We had a little bit of issue with flat mites, but he's bouncing back. There's some new growth in there. And there's some new growth over here. So I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be okay. I moved it from... It was on one of my grow shelves on the lower shelf, so it was quite far above the grow lights. And I moved it closer to my southeast facing window in the plant room. And it's pulled back maybe 6 inches, which is 15.25 centimeters. So it gets some light. It's not sitting at window level, it's sitting down here on a lower table. So it gets a little bit gentler light early in the morning. I think it appreciates that. Yeah, it's doing okay. It's not going great guns. I don't have any complaints about it. But it's doing okay. It's pretty. I'm kind of like, I don't need any more Finlaysonii. Finlaysonii and Calistophylla, we're good there. So yeah, this is done fine. It's very neat. It's very cool. If you're looking for something different in the Finlaysonii family, EPC 317 could be what you're looking for. It's worth checking out. I got this one from Gardino Nurseries. And again, this is Hoya Finlaysonii EPC 317. Talking about Hoya species UT033. Now the UT in UT033 is Utai Trisukon, and I hope I'm not butchering that individual's name very badly, who's a collector from Thailand, and when he collected plants, he assigned his own numbers to them, as you do. So the plant is probably from Thailand, but could also be from Indonesia because he has a number of other plants that are also from Indonesia. So I haven't been able to find any for sure information on that yet, other than that he is the collector. This poor kid got hammered by the flat mites, and I moved it completely out of the plant room. Just to give it a shot. I gave it a good treatment, but moved it away from anything else that could bring them back. And the room I moved it to was a little bit cooler than the plant room. Plant room stays 68, 67 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'll put the conversions over here, to about 74 in the warmer months, and in the summertime it can go up to 80 degrees in there. So my feeling is that this plant may like slightly warmer temperatures. I bought it because I saw pictures of the buds and they're beautiful. The leaves are, they're green. They're nice enough. They're nice enough. Nothing spectacular, nothing glamorous. It's the blooms. You get this one for the blooms. So I think he's making a comeback. It looks like there's a new vine starting in there. See if that'll show up at all. So I'm pleased about that. It looks like there's a new vine starting here. But that could be a peduncle. No, it's probably a new vine. It's probably a new vine. I'm not going to get excited yet. But if I do, I'll let you know. And this one's done okay. It's in pot and self-watering. My standard setup, it has found the reservoir. And it's doing okay. It's on the mend. So yeah, I'm excited about that and looking forward to having a lush, full, optimistic trellis in the near future. This one is Hoya species UT033, and this one came from Garden of Hayden on Etsy. This guy who's been here for about a year is my Hoya rotundiflora. Now, Hoya rotundiflora is native to Myanmar and was collected in 2009 by Toril Nijhuis and published in 2011 in Phytotaxa by Michaela Rota and Nathaniel Simonson. And I had one of these before, and it got away from me. I had it someplace where it got better light, but it wasn't in my line of sight, and it just got too dried. It just dried up. And I was very, very concerned because I really like this plant. I had one of these very early on in my collecting days. And so I thought I would take cuttings from the plant that I was pretty sure was dead, because you can take cuttings when you got to lose. And I went out and ordered another one right away. And the cuttings all took. And this one showed up. And it was healthy, it was fine. I should have a picture of it for over here of what it looked like when it arrived. And it has just done very well. The first plant I had, I noticed it kept trying to climb. It found an electrical cord and wound its way around there. It found anything it could find to grab onto. And so I thought, now that I have two plants, I'm going to let one trail, which is how I had grown the other one, and I'm going to set this one to climb. And so it is starting to do that. There's new growth, which is very kind of neat. I love the leaves. I'm hoping I can get good close up here. They have almost a hand-hammered texture. If you've ever seen hand-hammered metal, so it's got all those little ridges and divots and bangs from a hammer. That's what this makes me think of. And they're almost rectangular. So it's very, very cool. I really like this plant. I'm going to give it a much taller trellis, an optimistic trellis, very soon, because it's doing quite well. And I'd rather do it now when the plant is small than have to do it later when the plant is larger. So yes, I'm very pleased about this one. This is just a really neat Hoya. It hasn't bloomed for me yet, but it's growing and it's doing its thing quite well. So I'm very, very happy about that. This one came from the Hoya Trove on Etsy, and this is Hoya rotundiflora. Ago, I was chatting online with my friend Mona from Plant Therapy 1860, and she had been trying to find a Lacunosa that I had shown, and she's a Lacunosa person. So she said that she'd been looking around for it but hadn't had any luck, and I said, listen, I got you, girl, got you covered. So I sent her a cutting of that Lacunosa and I think something else. And yeah, it was just, she's been a good friend, so it was like I was happy to do that. And she turned around and sent me back 4 cuttings of Lacunosa, well, plants that she had. And they were very nice cuttings, and they've done very well. And they were plants that I did not have, so that's even better. The first 2 up are both Lacunosa. Now, Lacunosa is native to Brunei, to Java, Kalimantan and Sumatra in Indonesia, to Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak in Malaysia, to the Philippines and Thailand, and were first published in 1827 in Bijdragen tot de Flora van Nederlandisch-Indië, Contributions to the Flora of the Dutch East Indies by Carl Ludwig von Blumen. And the first one is Hoya Lacunosa, Louisa's Silver. And I will put some close-ups, but this is a very pretty plant. It is very cool. And I did not at the time have a Lacunosa that looked quite like that. So that was very much appreciated. Like, this is a really pretty plant. And it's doing well, Mona. Can you see? There's new growth here, there's new growth here, there's new growth there. Yes. Now, the other Lacunosa she sent was labeled Hoya Lacunosa Mint. And this one, too, has become a favorite. It is very, very pretty. It is very pretty. It's got silvery leaves with some of the original dark green kind of showing through. It has settled in quite happily. there is, let's turn it this way. There is new growth there. There is new growth down here, and there is new growth on the tip here. So Mona, this one's doing well as well. It's very pretty. It's going to make, when this fills in, I'm going to let it trail. It's going to make a stunning, stunning plant. Those leaves are just beautiful. And in that same shipment, there was one that was labeled Croniana Super Silver. And I have a couple Croniana as well. I have Croniana Black, and I have Croniana Super, no, not Super Silver, some other kind of silver, but it does not look as neat as this. So the variegation on this, the silvering, is very, very nice. It's very cool. You know, there's some, not quite half moon leaves, but pretty darn close. I mean, that's in there. And Mona, there's new growth on the tip down here, and there's new growth on this vine as well with some really, really cute tiny little Hoya leaves. So yes, this one's doing quite well. Yeah, another one, I'm very happy. Very, very happy with this one. And the last one that I was surprised that was in the pot was a Hoya carnosa Wilbur Graves. Now this one has done, it's a little slow, it needs to be repotted. Oh yes, it does, because we have rootage there, Mona. So yes, it's ready to be up-potted. The variegation is everything you would expect and hope for from Wilbur Graves. And I think, because I had another Wilbur Graves, and that one I have climbing a trellis, I think this one I'm going to let trail. I think a trailing Wilbur Graves, a hanging pot of Wilbur Graves, would be very pretty. And I have some good locations in mind for a trailing pot of this. So yes, very cool. There are one new growth point on the tip there. I don't know if I'll be able to turn that, but I'll try and do some close-ups of it. But this is very pretty. This was at the time, a very, very much sought after plant. So I appreciate what this meant, Mona. So thank you again very much. So they're all doing really well. This is a carnosa. So carnosa is native to South Central and Southeast China and Hainan Island, Japan and the Nansei Shoto, Laos and Taiwan. It was first published in 1810 on the Asclepiadae, a natural order of plants separated from the Aponochiae of Jushu. And I practice those words. I have to sound them out still. Not good with those two. By Robert Brown. The Croniana that I showed, Croniana is native to the Philippines and was first published in 2009 in Fraterna by Robert Dale Kloppenberg. So Mona, this was a really nice little thank you in return, and I want you to know that the kids are doing well on their way to being lush plants that would make you proud. So thank you again, Mona. Make sure you visit my friend Mona and her channel here on YouTube. It's Plant Therapy 1860. And she also sells on Palm Street under Mo Plant Therapy, M-O Plant Therapy. I'll put it over here. So yeah, good lady to know. Thanks, Mona. comments this week is, do you have a Hoya that's disappointed you? You know, you were all over it and you thought it was going to be great, and it looked gorgeous when you saw it online somewhere, and it showed up and it grew fine. It did everything you expected it to do, but it's just not cutting it anymore. I've got a couple. I'm not going to name names, not now anyway. I probably will at some point in the future, but I've got a couple of them, and they're okay. They're probably in the meh category, and I've got a video about meh plants, which I'll put a link to up here someplace. But yeah, just like, okay, yeah, I got it. It's fine. You know, nothing. Yeah, would I recommend it? Maybe, with caveats. So yeah, so if you got a Hoya that's like disappointed or not lived up to your expectations, yeah, add it to the comments below. And as always, I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. Please remember to visit my friends Mona at Plant Therapy 1860 and Dave, Sober Plant Guy, on their channels. Remember to click the thumbs up like button, the subscribe button, and what else? Thumbs up, like, subscribe. A lot of the products you've seen me use are available in my Amazon storefront, and there's a link in the description below. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can click on the link in the description to my Buy Me a Coffee page, or you can click on the thanks button, which is down over here someplace, and YouTube handles all the processing and everything for that. As usual, I'm going to put links to a couple more videos over here, and please enjoy the rest of your week's end.